the banking relationship, whether you're a family, whether you're a business, I mean, it's just a cornerstone business relationship. Like everybody has a bank.
Yeah.
Right.
So
not me. I keep all my money in a jar.
He does. I saw it
buried
once.
in the yard.
you mean it's not underneath your mattress like a good depression person?
That's right. No,
He probably does. I wouldn't.
I like putting it out in the yard.
I got to say, this is kind of random, but I like different kinds of books. And
you just picked up a whole bunch. You came back from a thing.
Yeah, for sure. But I was reading or listening to it's called 1929. And it's basically like the story of the whole year of 1929 from the financial and banking sector, kind of like.
Oh, I got to read that.
Oh, for you doing what you do, you would love it.
Yeah.
Isn't that a show by Taylor Sheridan?
I think that was 1923.
Okay. I don't know.
I think.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, I don't either. But the whole lead up to what caused the crash.
Yeah.
In October 24th, 1929, aka Black Tuesday.
Yes.
And it was just like, wow.
It's fascinating.
The change, like all of us that lived through the financial crash of 2008.
It's very similar, actually.
The similarities are eerie. It was like, what led up was just rampant speculation, irresponsible lending. And it was like, well, in 2008, it was subprime mortgages and mortgage-backed securities and collateralized debt obligations and all these things that led these investment banks to go belly up. Lehman Brothers, Goldman Sachs, Bear Stearns, et cetera. But in 1929, well, the flavor of the month wasn't any different. It's just they had different names, but they were unique, innovative financial products. There was rampant speculation, people that had no business buying these things, so they didn't understand them. They were just trying to make a quick buck because their stockbroker down the street said, oh, hey, this is a good investment. And they got into it and lost their lunch. It was just like 1929 and 2008 or they were
almost identical. And sometime off the air, I'll show you some documents and walk you through a merger that I was involved in 2008 when a bank failed, and it will make you go, what?
Just because the basic thing of a bank is trust.
Yes.
And when the basic underlying trust is broken, the whole system is at danger of collapsing.
Broken. That's right.
I think the biggest thing for the 2008 was these investment banks were all interconnected. They were all lending to each other. They were all investing in each other. There was this big spider web network. So when one bank failed, the whole system was destabilized.
Yeah.
And
it's no different than what happened after COVID when a lot of the crypto banks started failing. It was very similar.
Yeah, but crypto's picking back up. I
exited all of my positions.
Yeah.
I look at it the same exact way. I was like, man, I realized that the dollar bill is based on gold. But
it was.
Yeah. But when we keep on cranking out the money and just like, oh, you know what? We'll just owe ourselves more money. I was like gold is becoming like, blockchain where it's vaporous. There's not actually anything there. And I'm like, okay. So now the government's gonna do the great big reset and push for, government-based crypto.
Digital dollar.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I will always say anything you can hold tangibly.
That's right.
Is what you need.
That's right.
Well, this is not, in fact, a banking podcast or a financial podcast. So for those of you that are already like, well, I'm going to skip this episode. I apologize.
Hopefully, we tantalize some ears with our personal takes on things.
My producers are going to have a fun time trying to figure out when to start this episode.
Yeah, but actually, shouldn't we put out the disclaimer that the views and opinions expressed on this program are not to be, the basis for your financial making decisions?
We are not financial advisors. Please don't take us for anything. If you want to buy crypto, buy crypto.
Right,
do what you want. And also, these views do not in any way reflect the views or opinions of Commercial Bank of Texas.
That's right.
So this is just Andrea Harvey-Rodgers. She's just here as a private citizen. You might do some banking stuff now and again, for most of your career. But anyways, let me go ahead and just open this thing up officially and say welcome to the McKinney Podcast. We celebrate what makes us unique by nature. Andrea Harvey-Rodgers, what's your title? Like relationship manager, community banker?
Community relationship officer now.
Community relationship officer. Okay.
Yeah.
With Commercial Bank of Texas, which is a Texas-born and bred bank headquartered in the great city of Nacogdoches, the oldest town in Texas. Dang it.
You have some pride there.
Oh, man, I sure do. I love me some Nac.
Yeah.
Nacogdoches. With the G is silent, people. The G is silent, dang it. It's such a small world because, I saw those signs everywhere, and I lived in Nac for 8 years, went to college and grad school and lived there for a year after. Never did business with CBTX, but when we were looking for a new bank, coming out of the several years we spent at one of the big four, and the main reason we went with them was their technology and their ease of use. But as our business evolved, we needed more solutions. We needed some lending. We, line of credit for expansion, for hiring and all that stuff. And well, gosh, the big four just are super, super conservative, and they don't understand our business. Like, the insurance industry is a little bit wonky compared to other, if I owned a retail store, well, that's easy. Anybody can lend to a retail store. Right. But the big four just wasn't getting it done. And lo and behold, we started shopping, and you called, was like, hey, I hear you're, maybe looking for a new banking partner. I was like, well, yeah. And it's like, putting two and two together. It's like, CBTX, oh my gosh, that's
I know them.
I've been seeing them for the last 25 years.
Yeah.
It was like, wow,
awesome.
Small world.
That's awesome. And as an employee, you want to be proud of where you work. And I can tell you, just watching what CBTX has done and how much they've grown over the years, it's just incredible what they do for the community. Like, I get to be proud to go to work every day. How cool is that?
Let's start with Andy, though. I was Andrea. Yeah. Sorry, Andrea. Your friends call you Andy.
Yeah, you can call me Andy.
Okay. So what's the Andy story? How in the world did you get to this chapter of your life? As Fred likes to say.
Yeah.
When your feet first touched the earth.
Yeah.
What soil was that?
Minnesota.
I gotta
say it with Minnesota. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Upper Midwest girl.
Yeah. Well, not really. I spent summers up there very quickly because I was an Army brat. Dad was in the Army. We moved all over the country. So
does that mean you're just a brat now?
I'm just a brat.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
So was he ever overseas deployed, or was it all domestic?
I don't know. They got divorced when I was 2. So I really, my first 2 years were probably 6 different states. And then I really don't know what happened after that. So.
Okay.
But it's interesting how even something when you're so young kind of makes you into who you are. You know, I was an only child of a single mom, and therefore became a very independent young lady. You can imagine, like, why is the sky blue? But why? But why? My mom would give me 5 answers that were scientifically based, and I'd be like, but I need you to explain that.
Yeah.
So,
knowing you the last few years, that little bit of context makes sense. I can see that.
Makes perfect sense. Yes, it does. And so that's how it just all kind of started, with me being independently curious and just out there and my own kind of young person. And I don't think that's really changed as I've gotten older.
Okay, so Minnesota. How quickly before you got to Texas?
I came to Texas in the 5th grade. I'll never forget. We moved to Houston, Alief Independent School District. I can tell you something about that. Inner city Houston, as a 5th grader back in the 70s, meant very little, right? But to my parents, it was huge. Those were where the jobs were. That was where the economy was booming. And so that was really big for my mom. She became Car and Driver's First Saleswoman of the Year in the 70s. And she was just rocking and doing Porsche Audi sales. And so I grew up in a sales environment. And I think that's part of why I'm in sales now. So was she working for the
magazine?
No, she was actually selling cars. She was selling Porsche Audi. But remember the early 80s here, late 70s, early 80s, when you are selling Porsche Audi. She's 6'1", gorgeous blonde, green eyes woman. Wow. She was rocking it. Yeah. So it was neat to kind of grow up in dealerships and swinging my legs from the little chairs while I was coloring and watching all the stuff happening around me. Yeah.
So you go from Army brat, riding around in tanks, to riding around in Porsches and Audis.
She got free cars. It was cool. I don't remember a lot of that. I just remember some of the pictures of the vehicles that I've seen. So kind of neat though. So that, I think, even though in my dreams of a young lady, I wanted to go to college, become a genetic engineer, somehow I think that sales background took over.
But it probably was that you probably, spent some time in the business office. So you heard the financing
and all the other
stuff,
things. Yeah.
And so you're like, numbers. But why?
But why? I don't know. I was always good at math and science. I don't know.
Well, it's interesting to think and just contemplate the auto industry and that flavor of sales. And it gets a bad rap because some people are less than ethical, less than honest and forthright and whatnot. But if you look at it just from a ground floor level education on sales, on marketing, on branding, on customer service, I mean, you want to talk about a high volume, high turn industry. Is like, if you're going to learn the basics of these practices, is there a better industry than the automotive industry? I don't
think
know.
so. Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I learned so much when I was younger that I use today. And I didn't realize I learned it from watching my mom until we're having a conversation and she'll say, "Oh, you should have said such and such." And I'm like, "I did say that."
Where did I get that, Mom? I got it from you. And isn't that just the craziest part of parenting when you hear things that you say come out of your kid's mouth?
They're sponges. They hear everything.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 5th grade for you, or thereabouts. Yeah. Take us, fast forward a little bit to, adolescent, whatever you want to touch on there. You ended up not doing genetic engineering.
Right.
What did you go to school for? What did you, like when you entered the workforce, what were you thinking you were going to do?
Yeah, so I think the turning moment for my life was that junior, senior year when you're applying for colleges and you have all these dreams for your life. I got accepted to every college I wanted into, Vanderbilt, Swarthmore, you name it. But unfortunately, my mom said, "How are you going to pay for it?" And I thought, well, gosh, I thought you were supposed to do that. Why didn't we have this conversation when I was in the 5th grade? I could have started saving.
But why? But why?
Yeah.
What a great lesson, because then that's the moment that your true independence as a young adult starts.
That's right.
So I decided, well, you know what? Fine, I'll do this myself. And so I started applying for colleges that would give me scholarships and went to Southwest Texas State on a debate scholarship.
Okay. Now known as Texas State.
Now known as Texas State.
Yep.
Yes. So, yeah. So that's how I kind of worked. I was an RA in the dorms, worked my way through school.
A debate scholarship.
A debate
Are you surprised? Because I'm not.
No, not one bit.
No. Okay. So how did banking come in? At that point, you're trying to figure out what you want to do.
You got to get
career.
a job. Yeah. You got to get a job.
Did you start as a teller?
No, well, I did later.
Okay.
I started in the retail, sold diamonds.
Okay.
And then I was fresh out of college and I had moved to Missouri to follow a boy who later became my ex-husband. And my banking manager said, "Why do we want to hire you?" And I said, "If I can sell rocks to people, I'm pretty sure I can sell money." Just saying. Yeah. Neither one are tangible, right? It's all moving around in accounts.
Yeah.
Rocks are just rocks. But yet people pay thousands and thousands of dollars for them.
Yep.
She said, "You're hired."
I've never understood the fascination with shiny rocks. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It doesn't make much sense to me.
It's a big deal.
So
come on, James. You know all the physics and chemistry behind that. You're taking something that starts off as a lump of coal, and through time, pressure, and heat, has a structural change to go from dark to this super hard crystalline structure that just catches the light.
As you're talking,
and then you flex. And then you flex to say,
you'll understand it when you see your significant other's face when you hand them something
yes,
made of
I did
diamond.
in fact buy into the cultural norm of buying a shiny rock for someone when you want to ask them to marry you, which I did. And she did light up, and that was nice. I'm glad for that. I still don't understand the fascination with shiny rocks. But I guess other people would say, we don't understand your fascination with things that take pictures.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
Well, fair. That's a fair thing.
Yeah. But at least it has a function other than, whoa.
Well,
and when people see their Fred shot, they light up, right?
I'm reminded of Robert Griffin III's Heisman speech in 2010 when he said, "No pressure, no diamonds."
That's right.
And that was the one takeaway there. Sorry, when you say diamonds, all I'm thinking of is the one and only quarterback Baylor University has ever had that won the Heisman. So
that's right.
That's a great title for this episode. No pressure, no diamonds.
No pressure, no diamonds.
That's I would say how my life has
You've been through
formed
some
as well.
pressure.
Been through lots of pressure.
Yeah.
Lots of pressure. Stories, everybody, one thing I've learned through Leadership McKinney, for example, is everybody has a story. Everybody has a kind of a background. You could almost write a book on everyone. Yep. Everybody's got something that formed who they are. And pressure is my story. It's just a lot of sales pressure, a lifetime of retail sales, either through diamond industry, banking, you name it. So it's really interesting when you look back at what made somebody be who they are. And there's always going to be a label there, like what made you want to go into insurance, right? We need a James podcast.
Nah. No, there's plenty of that in the insurance space. I mean, I had a podcast called Agency Freedom for almost 200 episodes for 3.5 years. There's for anyone who wants to hear that, there's enough of that in the internet. This podcast is all about telling good stories and all about helping people understand what's going on in their city, the people, the places, the institutions, the things that make life happen here in McKinney. So I'd love to catch us up to current time. You're in Missouri chasing a boy, overtime, that doesn't work out. At some point you find yourself, back in Texas.
Yep.
It catches up to current
Texas.
evolution.
Yep. So ended up having 2 amazing boys. One's now 21, a Marine, and then one just turned 16. He's about to drive. In fact, his test is tomorrow, so I'm a little nervous for him.
Okay.
But, I think the whole evolution happened so fast. I know many people look back at their life and they go, how did I get here? Right? Like, how did this happen? And I think 26 years of banking just happened. It was a job to get me through school. And then I very quickly moved up into management. I've done training and development. I've done commercial lending. I've done now business development and customer relations. So it's just a natural progression that you find yourself in. So one time recently, it was probably about 6 years ago, I took one of those career profile tests, and they say, what you would be good at, because I thought I can't be a banker forever. I'm in this banker role now. You know what it said? It said retail sales, retail manager, or banking and finance.
Oh, there
Everything
you go.
I've done.
I was like, well, maybe I can be a banker forever.
And you do like your job, right?
I love my job.
Okay, well then.
It is definitely, and I tell my kids this, and I'll tell the world this, do what you love. Because when you love what you do, we know that you never work a day in your life. That's right. So I get to love what I do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the role that allows you to be in the community and to give back to the community, especially whether you're doing it for your company, you're doing it for yourself, it really doesn't matter. It's all the same. It's the same servant's heart that's what.
How'd you land in McKinney?
How did I land in
Because this is the McKinney podcast. I'd love to celebrate this.
We were in
city.
Missouri, and this is a huge celebration. We were in Missouri. It was 2000. It was 1999. We had just switched to Y2K. If you remember that time, everybody was afraid we were going to die,
panic.
and we didn't die. Everything was fine.
Nothing happened, actually.
We even prepped for it. We had the backpacks and the runaway packs, the whole 9 yards. Anyway, and I think my ex-husband was missing his family. My mom was in Missouri, so that's where my family was, but she had moved up there. So it was really exciting to think, what do we want to do with our lives? We were newlyweds. Where do we want to go? We didn't have kids yet. So we started researching. We knew we wanted to have kids. And McKinney was the top, back then in 2000, the top rated city to raise a family. And I don't remember what publication made it that way.
Yep.
So we started looking at McKinney. We looked at Allen. We just didn't, Allen was still growing. The new high school wasn't even there yet at that point in time, I don't think. So we looked at McKinney. There were great high schools, great school ratings. And we said, all right, we're going to buy our first house here. So we bought our first house on the east side. It was all we could afford in 2001. Get this, it was $109,000. Can you imagine?
Wow.
Nope,
I can't imagine that.
Anymore.
Nope.
Cute little 3-bedroom house right over by the Salvation Army neighborhood. We raised our kids there. Both kids are McKinney born. They're their first McKinney, Texas born citizens in both of our families. So it's kind of cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
I just love that all the M's: Minnesota, San Marcos,
McKinney.
Missouri, McKinney.
Missouri, yeah.
It's
a connection there. I don't know.
Okay, so there's a difference between kind of picking a spot on the map and choosing to stay somewhere and choosing to build a life somewhere and choosing to raise your kids through school, and now you're still here after.
Yeah.
What is it about this city that made you say, you know what? I really like it here. I think I'm going to stay here basically forever.
Yeah. And then buy another house
Yeah.
and get remarried with a whole new family. Yeah. So I can tell you straight away, I got involved in the city. I got involved with Leadership McKinney. I got involved with the chamber. I started to get involved with city politics. I started to get involved with nonprofits in our city. And that is what has kept me here. McKinney, I know you've talked about it recently on your podcast. I mean, we were just rated the #1 city for nonprofits in the nation.
Yeah.
I mean, we give back more. So for a servant's heart girl that loves to give and loves to take care of others, what a better place for me. And the more I got involved, it all fell into place. You couldn't get me to leave McKinney now.
Well, and I mean, I'm on record as saying I fully expect to live here forever. I don't intend to ever leave. And we may have other, secondary residents somewhere else in the country, Sedona, Breckenridge, Asheville, North Carolina. I imagine at some point, if finances allow us to, we'll have other residences for like seasonal stuff. But I don't think we'll ever leave McKinney.
I would never.
I can't think of a single reason why we would. Because, I mean, why does someone leave somewhere? Economics, school system, culture, opportunities to have cool memories and experiences. You know, the restaurant scene. We don't really have a nightlife. I mean, I'm 41 years old, married with 2 kids. Like nightlife's
There's no
irrelevant.
nightlife.
It's irrelevant. Like I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Sports teams don't really care. But that amphitheater, that venue is going to be
It's going to be good. But I will tell you, and I know that a lot of people, it's very controversial. We may leave McKinney someday only because as we get older, the traffic, everything happening is too much, you know, and I want to retire by a lake. And last I checked, we don't have a lake here. I'd be there. So,
but there is a lake about 20 minutes that way.
I have looked.
Yeah, and lake property. I mean, you're still close to McKinney. Definitely within easy driving distance.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just advocating.
I just want to say we do have a lake in McKinney. There's Adriatica borders it on one side.
Kings Lake.
That's right.
And Town Lake Park.
That's right.
And Town Lake.
There's a walking
I've lived
path.
by Town Lake before. Yeah.
It's more of a pond than a lake.
That's right.
But I mean, calling it a lake is a good bit of marketing, right?
Yeah. I'm thinking a bigger lake than that.
Like
right?
how big? We talking like
even,
Michigan?
No. Like even
Okeechobee.
Lake Fork or Lake Kiowa, any of those are fine or larger. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So,
Just
but not Levon. No.
I don't know. It depends on the property.
Or Ray Roberts.
Or Ray Roberts.
That's right.
Yeah. It
Or
depends on the
Louisville.
property.
That's right.
Like on the north side of Lake Louisville.
Away from traffic.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah.
That's the key.
Lake Levon's not going to be away from traffic.
No.
No.
Yeah.
So
I'd love to
you
live
want
there.
acreage.
Not necessarily. I just want to be away.
Okay.
And I think that's more my husband's goal than mine. My goal is just to be by the lake. I don't really care where I am, but
Okay.
I'm excited.
So you don't really care about traffic. It's really just having your own little.
He cares about traffic.
your own
Yeah.
little
I just want my
paradise.
own little paradise.
Yeah.
Yeah. It used to be the beach. That's where we wanted to go. But I can tell you with all the hurricanes and things, I'm glad to be in Texas, especially
So
inner side of Texas.
you're very involved in various organizations, as you said. What are you doing to spend your time when you're not working? Obviously, you've got a 21-year-old, a 16-year-old. So obviously, you're momming pretty hard right now.
Yeah.
What are you doing with the organizations, the nonprofits that you're involved with? Now, let's hear about that. Where's your giving back heart kind of centered?
It is true. I find myself, I joke with all of the chamber functions that I do and all of those types of functions. People think I'm with the chamber. When I introduce myself, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're with the chamber." I'm like, "No, I'm with CBTX. I just help the chamber."
You're just very active in several different chamber things.
Yes.
If there's anything going on.
Yeah. But the future, I think for me and what my heart is in the passion of serving is serving on city boards, really making a difference in the city in which I live, work and play.
Yep.
I get to have all three here, which is great. So if you aren't involved in your community, how can you expect your community to show up in ways you need it to?
Yep.
So that's kind of my whole role of what I do. Now, there are great nonprofits I also get to serve with. Serenity High, McKinney Food Pantry. They're amazing. I've served on the YMCA board, another amazing organization. I would probably serve on all of them if I were retired and had all the time, right? But we are so blessed here to have the amazing resources we do.
We've got to get Serenity High in here. I don't know how they haven't been on our list yet.
We do.
Can you make that introduction?
I've already done that, and we've already talked about it. I think the breakfast for Serenity High is in April, so I think the plan is come in late February, early March, so we can talk about that breakfast.
I know we talked
and
about
our
it briefly,
yeah,
but I haven't circled back on it because life has been so crazy this year.
We're not even to 26 yet.
Yeah.
We're fine. We got time.
Okay, but let's definitely get Serenity High in here. That's a story I want to tell and make sure that the audience gets to hear from them specifically because the whole alternative school gets a bad rap because it's for the bad kids. It's for the kids that are acting up. And just like, well, hold on a second here. That's a drastic oversimplification of the conversation.
Huge oversimplification. Yeah. In fact, some of the kids that I've seen go through Serenity High and get to graduate are some of the most amazing, talented young people I've ever met.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were bad kids at all. I think they may have had a bad circumstance.
Yeah. And bad, difficult family situation, maybe a lack of good behavioral modeling from the adults that were responsible for caring for them. A bad choice or two along the way, which, let's be honest, all of us are capable of.
That's right.
Next thing you know, you have some consequences you didn't foresee, and you're stuck going to Serenity High because you aren't able to go to regular school because of the consequences of your choices.
That's right. And it pretty much will. No one is immune from any of the things that you said, whether it is you had quote good parents or bad parents. Because fun fact, there's actually someone in my Leadership McKinney class who's a graduate of Serenity High.
That's right.
And when you know who this person's parents are, they are in
Amazing
our community
parents.
and they are fully involved. And you know, I knew this ahead of time. And you know, I've been watching this person for a while, and I was like, you know, you don't really know people's story.
Yeah.
You don't really know people's story. And you know,
back to the stories.
Where you were, what happened in those things. I don't know any of those details of this person's life, but I do know who this person's parents are. And, you know, it's something that I never would have put together. And it's just amazing to see how this person, an alumni of Serenity High, is making a difference in our community. So, we definitely have to have that episode.
And so many people in our community that have said and now serve with Serenity in some way, shape, or form that have said, I wish I had Serenity when I was growing up.
Yes.
It could have changed my whole...
That's right.
What's your role there? What do you do with the organization?
I'm treasurer on the board.
Okay. Cool.
So it's an advisory board because it is under the McKinney ISD roof. Yeah. We're simply there to advise. We're not an operative board.
Gotcha.
That would be the trustees on the MISD.
School board. Okay.
But that breakfast is so important. As you know, school funding has become a huge issue.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so for these kids to be able
really
to
appreciate
get,
that.
yes, for these kids to be able to get the school that they need, and MISD to carry Serenity High through the McKinney Education Foundation is amazing. So supporting both is
that's our love and affinity for the McKinney Education Foundation is very well documented.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's just another example of what we do so well here at McKinney. So love being a part of that.
I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want to steal from our future selves with our Serenity High episode, which sounds like it's going to be recorded probably in February and drop sometime in March.
Yeah, Allie's excited. We've already talked about it.
Okay, fantastic.
So,
cool.
She's in.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So what do you want to tell? What's the message you want to get out? Because I feel like with you, it's a little bit different. You know, and this episode probably has a little bit of a different camber to it because we're already so familiar with Andy Rodgers in a large extent. A lot of the people listening to this episode or just the podcast in general are typically more plugged in than, you know, Joe Blow citizen. So a lot of folks already know who you are.
Right.
What's the message you want to get out as we kind of move towards the landing of your episode? What is the encouragement or, you know, whatever you want to put out for the audience?
Yeah.
What are you about as we move into 2026?
Wow, I wasn't prepared for that. Thanks,
Sorry.
James. But, you know, I truly think when I thought about coming on this episode, and I knew we were kind of discussing Leadership McKinney and some of the new classmates of Fred's this year, it is truly about being a part of where you live, work, and play.
Mm-hmm.
I see so many people when I go to a restaurant or I'm walking, you know, down the street, or I'm at an event, even if I'm at some city function that I have never met. How cool is that to be as involved as I like to be? And yet I still see people at a restaurant every night at dinner that I've never seen before in my life. So to all those who may not listen to this podcast, get involved in your community. But to the ones that do listen to your podcast and already are involved, as we know a lot of them, are you really putting your heart where it needs to be? So I am a heart-led person. Those of you that know me, I wear my heart on my sleeve all the time.
Yep.
And I do it because I get involved where there's a purpose and where my heart does its best work. So I could be on 12 boards and I could, you know, I was on the Crepe Myrtle Trail board for a very long time. Love the Crepe Myrtle Trails. I'm deathly allergic to crepe myrtles. Like, we've had to cut them down in my house. That's probably not a board that I need to be on, right?
No, probably not.
I can support them. I can love them, but
did Neil Sperry know that you cut them down?
Let me tell you, it was a thing. It was a whole thing because you can't cut a tree down in McKinney without a permit. Like, it's a big deal.
And it has to pass the godfather of horticulture, Neil Sperry himself.
I cried. But I couldn't breathe. So, you know, breathing.
You love the tree, but from far away.
Right.
From over there, across the yard.
That's a perfect example of where I do not belong with my heart, 100%. Right? But then Serenity High is such a perfect example of, you know, some backstory of my life as well as just those that I know. You were talking about one of your classmates, and I know that family well. To see what good it does in the community.
That's right.
That's a board they'll have to drag me kicking and screaming off of, right? I love that board. I love what Serenity High does. So final message is really do what you love. Put your heart into what you're doing and make a difference. When your heart is in it, you can't not make a difference. But when you're half in or you're serving on something, for example, when I started serving with Rotary Club, I really knew very little about it. I was there because I was told to be there with a job, right? As I've gotten more and more into it, my heart is in that service lane and it is exactly where I need to be. So do that. Do what your heart tells you to do. Do it with a purpose and love what you do, I would say.
Okay, so just on that, at the same time, you're so involved. Do you ever feel like you're overstretched?
Involvement fatigue?
Yes.
I have learned to say no. In fact, I recently said no to a committee, and no is important. No is your best yes. I learned from your wife, Fred, that when you say no, you give back power both to the place that you're saying no to as well as yourself. Mm-hmm. So I do say no very often. Mm-hmm. I get asked to do all kinds of things. And if it's not where my heart needs to be, it doesn't serve a purpose for growth, for love, for kindness, for giving, then I have had to say no. And it's a hard thing to say no.
Yeah, but so, let's give some practical tips here, because I know people that want to be involved, that will try things out. And just what you said, there's this fatigue because I got into this, but this isn't where my heart is. How do you have that conversation with the chairperson or the organizer or whomever? What do you say to them so that because I don't want someone working for me or with me that's their heart isn't in it. Their heart's
not there.
That's right. Yeah. So how do you make that break?
Yeah, I've had to do that many times and just say, I am so appreciative of this opportunity. I have learned so much. I have grown so much. Whatever is your truth, don't speak a lie. Speak the truth. Did you grow? Did you learn? Did you maybe learn about what you don't want to do? But just say, I have learned so much. Thank you for this opportunity. Right now, I don't think this opportunity is going to be where I'm going to give you my best. Thank you for the time. And if I can ever give you my best and I change my mind, I'd love the opportunity to come back.
I love that because, there's so many people that I meet that, they truly want to get involved, but they're just scared. They're like, well, what if I get into it and then, it's not for me? I'm like,
okay.
Like, you can leave.
Yeah,
you could leave.
You can leave.
But don't just not show up.
Yeah. Even better, find somebody to replace you. You talk to them. Maybe somebody in the community who's better suited for that and say, well, I need to step down. I have someone I really want you to meet whose heart is in it right now.
That's right. And of course, I don't think we actually said it, but, Volunteer McKinney, under the leadership of Dr. Stephanie Robinson, who we had on the show, just as she has shared that, however many volunteer and charitable nonprofit organizations that we have, there's so much overlap.
So much.
And that, there is no reason for somebody not to be involved, whether you can give, just a little bit of your time or a whole lot of your time because you have your lake house with your property and you're retired. But there are so many opportunities for you out there that you should just give it a try.
Just give it a try. I like to think I'm the poster child of involvement. I do it because it truly is. It fills my cup to give. But, just give something a try. And if you don't like it, it's okay. It's okay to say thanks.
What I would love to see us figure out how to do is some really healthy consolidation.
Yes.
And I loved seeing what happened with Community Lifeline Center and Samaritan Inn, where they decided, you know what? We're more effective at the mission if we merge, pool our resources, pool our volunteers, pool our board advocacy, and become one stronger organization than we were as two separate organizations. Yeah. That should be the poster child for a couple hundred organizations in McKinney that are tiny, itty-bitty organizations that have a tiny budget, that have tiny volunteer pool, but people that care vigorously about a mission, about a cause. But the default in McKinney so many times is, I really care about this cause. I'm going to start a nonprofit.
I'm going to start a nonprofit.
It's like, well, hold on a second. I get that you want to be ambitious and maybe, let's be honest, you want to be in control if we're calling a spade. But if the mission is what is most important and you're running a tiny, underfunded, underutilized, under-resourced organization, but you care vigorously about a cause, why not look and see who around you that also cares about that cause you can link arms with and either merge or simply say, hey, you know what, we're going to fold this into your organization. We're going to continue on with the mission. And together, we're going to be stronger and more effective about doing whatever the mission is of our organization. That needs to happen dozens or hundreds of times across the landscape in McKinney.
Absolutely.
Because, you go down the list of all of the folks that have filed their 990s and you see all that stuff. It's like, your operating budget's $10,000 for the whole year.
Like, how are you doing
how
this?
Are you,
and why? Where's the purpose? Again, who are you touching? What are you doing?
I recognize when I say that, I step on a lot of toes. It was like, but you don't understand. My kid died from cancer, and I wanted to start a foundation to honor them, Sarah's legacy or whatever it happens to be. That's just a perfect example. It's like, well, I get it. You're a grieving parent. You want to do something to capture what happened to your kid and make sure that, other families get better support than you did, or whatever it is. Just as an example, some of this stuff is deeply personal. And it's like, can you find a way to be more effective with the mission?
Or feed up to another organization that is out there making the difference. I mean, it's okay to have your own nonprofit and 501c3, but then feed up to one that is actually growing and moving and shaking.
Well, and to be perfectly candid, RiskWell will have a foundation at some point. It'll probably be 27 if I had to guess, because we need to make sure it's well funded and thought out and everything. But the whole point of our 501c3, the RiskWell Foundation is what it's going to be called. The entire reason it exists is to funnel money to other resources, to other organizations, I should say, that are doing work that we want to get behind and support.
Absolutely.
It's nothing but capturing some of our own business operating and our network and saying, hey, this is what we're doing. These are the causes that we support. If you want to support us, we're supporting them.
Right.
And it's literally just
and it's a
conduit.
funnel. Yeah. And that back to the finances where we began the conversation. That's strategic financing. That's a great way to fund nonprofits and to be involved. And then also help your business. Like, why would you not do it that way? But we have a couple of organizations in McKinney, as you know, that are trying to bring together those nonprofits. But they do it. I personally believe that they're doing it in a way that is a resource hub, as opposed to bringing everyone to collaborate together. Volunteer McKinney does do a nonprofit breakfast, and it is amazing. That brings a lot of the nonprofit leaders together. I think they do it once a quarter, once a month. And it's a great way for people to meet others. They're executive directors of organizations doing the exact same thing as another organization that have never met.
Yeah.
So I love that Volunteer McKinney's doing that.
Breakfast in the spring, whatever the first one is in 26, we'll be there. They invited us to this past one to sponsor it. And all I'm thinking is, well, our sponsor is, we have a studio that we want to give you to use for free. We have a conference room we want to give you to use for free. We're not asking you for anything. We just want to support the mission of your organization. I didn't get it there early enough to run it by Stephanie, Dr. Robinson. I don't know what she wants me to call her.
You're on a first name basis.
I haven't asked her for permission to just call her Stephanie, so maybe I shouldn't take that liberty. But we have every intention of being deeply involved with Volunteer McKinney as that hub, because for the folks that don't know what to get involved in, they say, hey, you know what? I want to teach my kids good lessons about civic engagement, about service and whatnot. But where do I go? Where do I start? It was like, Volunteer McKinney is probably a great place to start. If you don't know where to go, call them and say, hey, these are the kind of causes I care about. These are the things that I want to be involved in giving back in. Can you point me in the right direction? Where should I go? Well, hey, you know what? Good to hear from you. We have these 12 organizations that do stuff in that area.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like that's exactly what you're advocating.
What you need to do. Yeah. So I guess one of the things I want to be sure that I impart is with the young people here in McKinney.
Yeah.
I don't know how many young people. I don't know your average demographic, but maybe their parents can let them listen to this.
Yeah.
I started with nothing from a single mom who was working just to provide food on the table. There were nights we ate ramen. There were nights we didn't have food, right? There are resources in McKinney to get you the groceries, to get you the food you need. Don't be a young person who says, I can't do because I didn't get.
Yeah,
be a person who says, I will do because I didn't have, right?
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fred, anything else before we hit her with that final question?
No. I'd like, we could probably go further, but, we need to respect your time so you can get back to the community.
Oh.
Okay.
Wow.
So.
Feel serious.
Who would win in a fight between a great white shark and a giant polar bear?
It's the question.
It is the question.
It's the question.
But for our audience, because I know you've heard this before, they're in a body of water 6 feet deep.
Right.
Of infinite dimensions. There's no sandbar, no shoreline, no anything. Who wins that fight?
The polar bear. Hands down. The polar bear is actually one of the strongest swimmers out there. even more so than the shark because they have more agility. They can move around. But on top of that, he could jump on an iceberg or get on the land and then attack.
But no land.
It's just all water, no icebergs.
6 feet deep. The swimming pool is 6 feet deep. And it's of infinite size. There's no edges. There's no cannonballing off the side.
I'm still going with the polar bear because he's the underdog, and I always root for the underdog.
I mean, I'm not going to try to dissuade you from that because I'm also team polar bear.
Yeah.
That's right.
Fred is team shark.
That's right.
And clearly Fred's wrong.
In reality, it's probably going to be the shark, but I'm rooting for the polar bear.
Hey,
well,
listen,
hold on a second.
There's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer.
What do you mean it's probably going to be the shark? Explain that.
You're in a pool of 6 feet water. There's nowhere you can go. Eventually, that polar bear is going to get tired of swimming at the very least.
But the polar bear is 12 feet tall, though. The polar bear can stand up in 6 feet of water.
I just don't know. I'm still team polar bear. Something in my heart, back to the heart, says go with what your gut says.
You know, the last thing I'll say on that is good answer. Good answer. Way to go. Good job.
It's only because it's team polar bear.
Yeah, I mean, if you were team shark, I'd be saying, not so fast, my friend.
Yes.
Hold on. Tap the brakes a little bit. Okay, so the CBTX thing, I definitely want to give credence to them. What's the best way for someone to connect with you on the CBTX side of things? Because I know that bank has been good to you, and you care deeply about the people that you get to work with there. If someone is considering a new banking relationship, what's the best way to connect with CBTX?
Yeah, come on in. The McKinney branch is located at 75 and Virginia. We're the tall gray building right behind
right there
Racetrack.
in the northwest corner, right?
Come in, ask for Andrea or branch manager Lana or any of our team, really. They'll all be right there to help you. I recently told someone who said, we love CBTX. No matter what branch we go into, everybody is just so friendly. I said, come into McKinney. You'll see the same thing. So walk in, talk to us. You can always call me. I'm available on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my McKinney banker. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, she is Andrea Harvey-Rodgers, Andy, for those that know her well. And man, she's just super involved here in McKinney. Thanks so much for being here. We appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And this has been another episode of the McKinney Podcast. We celebrate what makes us unique by nature. Catch you next time, ladies and gentlemen.